Prototype cars are built to disappear. They are not products, not collectibles, not meant to be seen. They exist to answer one question, and once that question is answered, they are erased, crushed, dismantled, or locked away forever. They are never sold. They are never registered. They are never driven by the public. Yet one of the cars you're about to hear about is privately owned today. Another survived even after being officially ordered destroyed. And one of them exposes a version of automotive history manufacturers would rather forget. These are not rumors. These are real physical cars that still exist. Every car on this list was never meant to leave the factory. BMW. Nazca C2 BMW does not make mid-engine supercars. That statement has always been part of the brand. Front engines, balance, restraint, control. That is what BMW sells to the world. Which is why the Nazca C2 feels like a mistake that escaped. In the early 1990s, BMW quietly partnered with Giorgetto Giugiaro. Not for a marketing concept, not for an auto show sculpture, but to explore a future BMW never publicly admitted it considered. The Nazca C2 was real. It used carbon fiber construction, it used a V12 engine, and it placed that engine behind the driver. Nothing about that fit BMW tradition. BMW never approved production. BMW never announced a plan. BMW never promised customers anything. Yet multiple running prototypes were built anyway. That is where the rule broke. Instead of being destroyed, the cars survived. They left internal control. They did not end up in museums or archives. They ended up in private collections, maintained, preserved, still functional. BMW never corrected the story, because admitting the Nazca exists means admitting BMW once questioned its own identity. And once that question escaped the factory, it could not be taken back. That contradiction still exists today for BMW. Lamborghini Cala. Lamborghini is built on excess. Noise, aggression, and extremes define the brand. That is why the Lamborghini Cala feels wrong the moment you understand it. The Cala was designed as an entry-level V10 Lamborghini. Smaller than expected, more restrained than expected, more affordable than anything Lamborghini was comfortable admitting it wanted to build. This was not a styling mock-up. It was not a hollow shell for shows. The Cala was a fully drivable prototype with a real engine, real interior, and real intent behind it. Internally, it represented a dangerous idea. A Lamborghini that chased volume instead of rarity. A Lamborghini that expanded downward instead of upward. Then the company entered chaos. Ownership changes, financial instability, conflicting visions of what Lamborghini should become. The Cala project was canceled. The future it represented was rejected, and the prototype was supposed to disappear with it. It didn't. The car survived intact and later surfaced outside Lamborghini, quietly, without explanation. Lamborghini never revived the idea, never referenced the car, never clarified how a canceled prototype escaped. Because the Cala proves Lamborghini once considered becoming something it no longer wants to admit. And once that prototype escaped destruction, that contradiction became impossible to fully erase. Ford GT90. The Ford GT90 was never supposed to exist as a real machine. It was designed to shock people visually and then disappear. A dramatic concept meant to make headlines and nothing more. But Ford engineers went further than they were supposed to. They turned the GT90 into a fully functioning prototype, a quad-turbo V12. Extreme power for its time, real engineering, not theatrical pretending. That created a problem Ford didn't plan for, because once a prototype works, it stops being just design, it becomes proof. Ford never intended to sell the GT90, never intended to produce it. There was no customer plan, no regulatory path, no future roadmap. The car was meant to stay internal as a technical statement, but it didn't stay there. The GT90 survived intact. It remained drivable. And eventually, it left Ford's control entirely. That is the escape, because prototypes are supposed to end their lives inside the company that built them. Once they exist outside, they expose what a manufacturer was capable of, not just what it chose to sell. The GT90 proves Ford once seriously explored a future far more extreme than its public identity. And once that prototype escaped, that truth could never be fully buried again. Porsche 984. Porsche has always claimed its identity was fixed. A 911 has 2 doors. Anything else does not belong in the story. That certainty is why the Porsche 984 is so uncomfortable. In the late 1980s, Porsche built a 4-door prototype based on 911 engineering. Not a sketch, not a design study. A real, functional car that could be driven. The 984 was smooth, restrained, and unmistakably Porsche, and that was the problem. If it became public, it would prove Porsche's identity had already bent long before the company admitted it ever would. It would undermine the myth of purity that surrounded the brand for decades. So the project was canceled quietly. No announcement, no explanation. The prototype was supposed to vanish. It didn't. One complete example survived, preserved, hidden from the public. For years, Porsche avoided acknowledging its existence. Because admitting the 984 existed meant admitting the Panamera was not a radical new idea. It meant admitting Porsche had crossed that line long before it said it had. Once the prototype escaped silence, the official narrative cracked, and Porsche could never fully close it again. Jaguar XJ13. The Jaguar XJ13 was never meant to survive. It was built with one purpose and one deadline: to race. This was not a road car experiment. It was a Le Mans prototype, mid-engine, V12 powered, designed to return Jaguar to the top of endurance racing. Then everything stopped. Jaguar withdrew from motorsport. Budgets were cut, priorities shifted, the program was canceled, and the order was explicit: destroy the prototype. That is how manufacturers protect themselves. Dead projects are erased so they cannot complicate history or embarrass the brand. But the XJ13 did not die. Instead, it was quietly retained, stored, ignored. Years passed. Then the car resurfaced, restored, preserved. A prototype that survived an execution order. The XJ13 represents a Jaguar future that never happened. A path that was abandoned before it could be proven. Once that car escaped destruction, it became physical evidence of what Jaguar almost was. And no amount of silence could erase that contradiction again. Volkswagen W12 Nard. Volkswagen built the W12 Nardò for one reason only: to prove an engine concept could work at the highest level. It was never designed for customers, never planned for production, never intended to represent the brand publicly. At the time, Volkswagen was experimenting quietly. A W12 engine in a supercar platform. Pure engineering curiosity without commercial pressure. The Nardò prototype was fast, stable, fully functional. And that was the problem. Because once a prototype works, it becomes dangerous to control. It stops being an internal experiment and starts becoming proof of capability. Then Bugatti entered the picture. Volkswagen no longer needed the Nardò. The engineering lessons were complete. The project was shelved. The prototype should have been locked away forever. It wasn't. At least one fully drivable example escaped Volkswagen's control. Privately owned, maintained, still alive. Once a prototype leaves the company, the narrative collapses. The W12 Nardò proves Volkswagen once built something radically different from its public identity. And once that prototype escaped, that truth could not be erased. Mercedes-Benz C111. The Mercedes-Benz C111 was never meant to become a car people asked to buy. It was built as a rolling laboratory, a controlled environment for ideas that were too experimental for the public. Rotary engines, advanced diesel concepts, aerodynamics that looked decades ahead of anything else on the road. It was never supposed to be desirable. It was supposed to be useful. But that plan failed. The public saw the C111 and demand exploded. People wanted it. Collectors wanted it. Drivers wanted it. Mercedes refused. Not because the car failed, but because it worked too well. Selling it would have meant committing experimental technology to real customers. It would have meant risk, responsibility, loss of control. So Mercedes said no, yet the C111 did not disappear. Prototype cars are meant to vanish. That is the rule every manufacturer follows, at least on paper. If a prototype survives, it means something went wrong. Someone hesitated. Someone decided it mattered too much to destroy. Every car in this video survived a moment where it should have been erased. Not because it was finished, not because it was perfect, but because it proved something uncomfortable. It proved a brand once questioned its own identity. It proved a future was explored and then rejected. It proved the official story was never complete. And these are only the prototypes we know about. There are others. Locked deeper, documented less, cars that never appeared in photos, cars that never surfaced at events, cars collectors refuse to show and manufacturers refuse to acknowledge. Those are the ones that matter most. That's what horsepower habits exist for. Not the cars everyone sees, but the cars that were never supposed to be seen at all. If you want more stories like this, subscribe, because the next list goes even further. And the cars get harder to explain. Some of them shouldn't exist at all.